Lady Sandra Abbott and Sir Mike have been married for 35 years. They are a model high society couple. Recently Mike was awarded an honor in the Order of the British Empire for his lifelong service. In addition, he has many other awards and achievements. Sandra has always tried to be the perfect wife for Mike. To mark the occasion, the couple hosts a reception at their home. Mike gives a speech, thanking his devoted wife, who has always been by his side and supported him. Sandra is happy, but her fairy tale falls apart when she catches her husband with her best friend, Pamela. Mike tries to explain himself, saying Sandra has misunderstood everything, but there was no mistaking what she had seen. Worse still, Mike and Pamela's affair has been going on for 5 years. Sandra causes a scene in front of the guests. The couple's daughter, Nicola, is there as well. But at that moment Sandra does not care about the family's reputation. She has devoted herself completely to this marriage, always putting Mike first, and all she has received in return is betrayal. Meanwhile Biff, Sandra's sister, and her friend Jackie are swimming in a lake and notice too late that some hooligan is stealing their things. The women call their friends, Charlie and Ted, asking them for help. Despite their age, all of them live life to the fullest. Broken, Sandra leaves aristocratic society behind. She is not at all used to a world where people are not obliged to open doors for her or carry her bags to the door. Since Sandra has nowhere else to go, she heads to her older sister, who lives in an ordinary London flat. For Biff, the visit comes as a complete surprise, since the sisters have never been especially close. In tears, Sandra tells her that Mike is having an affair and that she intends to leave him. Biff introduces her younger sister to Charlie, who has just dropped by to fix the door lock. Sandra introduces herself as Lady Abbott. The truth is, that title no longer means anything to her. The sisters go to a Chinese restaurant to drink and talk. Biff believes that perhaps everything is for the best, because Sandra finally has a chance to step out of Mike's shadow. The sisters begin arguing in raised voices. Biff, an environmental activist, believes there is nothing more important than saving the planet, so her sister has lived her life the wrong way, while Sandra is convinced that if everyone thought only about saving the planet, there would be no progress. In the past, Mike was responsible for guarding weapons at secret facilities. Despite everything, Sandra believes it was justified. During the Cold War, weapons were a necessity. People needed a sense of security. The restaurant manager tells the women off for talking too loudly, which only makes Sandra even angrier. In the end she, the wife of the former chief constable, is taken away by the police. Sandra is released from the police station only the next morning. While Sandra, suffering from a hangover, sleeps it off, Biff gets ready to go to her regular dance class. She is not used to sitting still. Mike calls Sandra, still his wife for now, and says he has decided to move in with Pamela. He thinks it will be better for everyone. This completely destroys Sandra. She never imagined that after 35 years of marriage, she would have to start over. While Biff is out enjoying herself, Sandra tries to cope with her hangover and her emotions. Suddenly she feels a sharp pain in her chest. Charlie is curious how Biff could be so closely related to an aristocrat. The woman replies that Sandra used to be very cheerful and full of life, but then she married Mike, and her entire life began to revolve around that marriage. Until the day Sandra left Mike, the sisters had not seen each other for 10 years. When Biff and Charlie learn that Sandra is in hospital, they immediately go to pick her up. It turns out Sandra has only had a panic attack. She still cannot accept that her life will never be the same again. Other people do not understand her aristocratic manners and reserve. Even the most ordinary things at first glance can seem rude to her. Biff tries to support her sister in every way she can, but Sandra is afraid to open up. To her, showing emotion means weakness. To take Sandra's mind off things, Biff suggests that she come to dance class with her the following week. Sandra is not sure it is a good idea. Biff puts on a tape of their childhood videos. Sandra used to love dancing. In the footage she looks so happy. That night, Biff is woken by Sandra's sobs. She is taking the betrayal very hard. Sandra finally agrees to go to dance class with her sister. Charlie makes a joke about Sandra's noble background. Biff in turn introduces her sister to Jackie, who has been married 5 times. And all of those marriages fell apart. But Jackie is now an expert in matters of the heart. At first during the waltz, Sandra feels stiff, even with Biff standing in as her partner for the moment. Ted cannot hold back the emotions that come flooding in and leaves the hall. The same song had played at his wedding. Ted misses his late wife terribly. Sometimes he wonders why they did not die together. It breaks Ted's heart. Charlie hugs his friend, trying to comfort him. Sandra witnesses this touching scene. Lady Abbott is going to meet her daughter Nicola on Saturday. Nicola will bring her son Luke with her, so Biff can meet her great-nephew. Biff however has other plans for Saturday. She is going on a date. Sandra remarks that her sister is a little old for that. Biff objects, saying age is no obstacle. Charlie takes care of his seriously ill wife, Lily. She no longer even recognizes him. Sandra meets up with her daughter and grandson. Nicola wishes things were different, but there is nothing she can do about the situation. Late that evening, Biff brings her lover Gerald home. Sandra hears them enjoying themselves. They feel so young. Sandra is even envious. She has never allowed herself to be her true self. At some point Gerald suddenly goes still. It was the last date of his life. Biff feels so sorry for this wonderful guy, but he died with a smile on his face. Many people can only dream of that. Sandra continues going to dance class with her sister. This time Charlie becomes her partner. The woman feels a little embarrassed, but she lets him lead her through the waltz. They do quite well. Jackie suggests that all the members of the dance class perform in front of an audience and raise money for a charity for the elderly. Almost everyone responds to the idea with enthusiasm, but not Sandra. She is ready to make a generous donation, but she has no desire to embarrass herself in public. Biff says that one advantage of their age is that they should no longer care what other people think. But Sandra does care. Every Thursday, Charlie visits his wife in a specialized care home to spend time with her. But Lily's condition continues to deteriorate rapidly. It hurts Charlie to see the person he treasures more than anyone else in the world fail to recognize him at all. Overwhelmed by helplessness, Charlie breaks down. Sandra knows she should not be doing it, but she spies on Mike and Pamela's life on social media. Once, that life belonged to Sandra herself. Biff advises her sister to simply let go of the past and move on. In an attempt to distract herself, Sandra gives her sister's flat a thorough cleaning, scrubbing and sorting through everything she can get her hands on. Biff is outraged. How is she supposed to know where anything is now? In short, the sisters are never bored. Charlie begins to think that it would be better for Lily if he stopped visiting. Every time she sees him, she becomes extremely anxious. Charlie sold his house to place his wife in a good facility where she receives proper care, and he would do anything to make her better. But the illness will only keep progressing. The man says goodbye to Lily and leaves. The decision is very hard for him. After selling his house, Charlie lives on his barge. Biff visits him regularly. They are old friends. Charlie shares his worries with her. He has spent most of his life repairing things and has been good at it, but now there is absolutely nothing he can do to help Lily. Gradually Sandra gets used to her new life and learns to enjoy simple things. Biff cannot help noticing the changes in her sister. Soon Sandra receives the divorce papers. Of course it was expected, but until the very end, she had hoped Mike would come to his senses and beg her for forgiveness. Sandra would have gone back to her old life. Despite everything, she still loves Mike. These feelings cannot simply be switched off. They were supposed to go on a cruise around the Adriatic Sea, but now another woman has taken her place. Jackie encourages Sandra, saying that after the divorce, she will get her share of the settlement and be able to buy a house. She will have enough money left to live comfortably. But for Sandra this is little comfort. It hurts her deeply that after the divorce, her title will go to Pamela. Jackie says it is better to be a free woman without a title than to remain a deceived lady. Taking advantage of Mike and Pamela's absence, the sisters go to the Abbott house so Sandra can finally collect her belongings. Soon the house will be put up for sale. They run into a neighbor, Janet. After Sandra stopped being part of high society, everyone she knew and had once welcomed into her home turned their backs on her. Janet is no exception. To teach Mike a lesson for his infidelity, the women decide to destroy all his golf tournament trophies. When Biff learns that Mike was the only man in Sandra's life, she understands why her sister always worshipped him so much. Charlie and Ted arrive to help Sandra move her things. The woman regrets that she was rather rude to Charlie earlier. It took her time to understand what a kind, wonderful man he is. The group decides to celebrate Sandra's new life in a pub. There, they run into Mike and Pamela. Without caring what anyone thinks, Sandra says everything she has been holding back, forcing him and the homewrecker to leave. The whole pub applauds her. Sandra is proud of herself. Casting all her doubts aside, she joins the charity dance performance. All the participants, as well as the audience, have a wonderful time. For the first time Sandra can be herself. Before, she had to give up many things to maintain Mike's image, but from now on, she will do whatever she wants. The video of the older dancers goes viral online. Mike notices that Sandra has changed her hairstyle and looks younger, which hurts Pamela. The older dancers celebrate the success of the charity performance. Sandra and Charlie have a heart-to-heart talk. She even likes the fact that he lives on a barge. The woman jokes that a floating home is convenient because you can change neighbors at any moment. Charlie says he dreams of going on a long journey one day and visiting different countries. To Sandra, it sounds like a dream. Life is getting better. The sisters decorate the house in the run-up to Christmas. Biff arranges everything so that Charlie and Sandra go Christmas shopping together. No one knows that Biff is fighting a terrible illness and losing that fight. Sandra is sad that for the first time, she will not see her grandson unwrap his presents. Charlie mentions that he and Lily tried to have a child, but sadly it did not work out. On the other hand, it brought them even closer together. Sandra has not been this happy in a long time. That evening, it is as if she has been transported back into the past. Sandra remembers how she once dreamed of singing in a choir, but Mike had a strictly traditional view of family life, so he did not encourage her to perform in public. Charlie's car is towed away, but neither he nor Sandra lets that stop them. They end up stealing the car. It is the craziest adventure Sandra could ever have dared to go on. The woman realizes that her sister deliberately arranged everything so that she and Charlie would spend the whole evening together. Biff says with a smile that at their age, they need to act instead of waiting for life to happen. Their dance group receives an offer to travel to Rome. All expenses are paid. They celebrate Christmas with their closest friends. Over the past few months, Biff has realized that she has a sister again, and it is the most precious Christmas gift she could have hoped for. They raise a toast to family and friends. Nicola calls her mother and complains that it was the worst Christmas ever. Pamela organized everything terribly. For Sandra, on the contrary, it was the loveliest Christmas she has had in years. After the celebration, she and Charlie clear away the plates and dance, when suddenly Biff, who has fallen asleep on the sofa, starts choking. Sandra quickly hands her the inhaler. All night, Biff cannot sleep because of coughing fits. Only in the morning does Biff admit to her sister that she has stage 4 cancer. At that moment, Sandra's whole world falls apart. No sooner has she found her sister again than she is about to lose her. Biff has already refused chemotherapy, not wanting to prolong her suffering. She also tells Charlie the truth. No one else knows, not even Jackie and Ted. Biff does not want to be treated like a sick old woman. Despite everything, the woman plans to go to Rome with them and perform. There is less and less time left, but Biff intends to get everything she can out of life. So the group sets off for Rome. Sandra still cannot come to terms with her sister's choice, but she has to be strong for Biff. In the evening, they walk through the streets of Rome, eating pasta and drinking wine. Biff loves Rome very much. She remembers how many years ago, she met Gino here. They were madly in love and planned to spend their whole lives together. His parents had even given them their blessing. Then 2 weeks before she was supposed to move here, Gino died in an accident. Biff felt such pain that she swore to herself she would never fall in love again. Now she regrets it. The next morning, Nicola calls her mother to say that Dad has left Pamela. Mike plans to make peace with his wife. Nicola would really like that. Sandra, however, is no longer interested. Looking at the time, she realizes she is late for the performance. She gets ready in a rush and races out of the hotel as fast as she can. Fortunately, she arrives just in time. And then their group takes the stage. They put their whole hearts into the dance. Biff dances despite the pain. She knows for certain that it was worth it. After the performance, Biff is completely exhausted. She asks Sandra to promise not to repeat her mistake. But Sandra is not sure she will ever be able to truly trust anyone again. Biff smiles and says that sometimes it is worth taking the risk. Sandra and Charlie walk through Rome in the evening. At some point, he admits that he is married. For Sandra, this comes as a heavy blow. Charlie explains that his wife has Alzheimer's disease and has been in a care home for 5 years. She remembers nothing about their life together. However, Sandra will never agree to be the other woman after everything she has been through. All night, she cannot sleep. Mike keeps calling her again and again, but she ignores him. In the morning, Biff does not come down to breakfast. Sandra grows worried and asks a maid to unlock the room. Sandra finds her sister dead. She is overcome with grief. Many people gather for the ceremony to scatter Biff's ashes. Everyone loved Biff dearly. Nicola and Mike are there too. Sandra gives a touching speech, saying that Biff taught her how to truly live. She was one of a kind and refused to be ruled by anything, even her illness. With tears in her eyes, Sandra scatters the ashes. Charlie is devastated not only by the loss of a good friend, but also by the fact that the woman he loves cannot be with him. Before, he had never thought he could fall in love a second time. Mike convinces his wife to come back to him, saying that his failed affair with Pamela made him realize Sandra is the only person he needs. From now on, Mike promises never to take her for granted again. Charlie witnesses this conversation. For him, the most important thing is for Sandra to be happy. She decides to give her husband a second chance, believing that everyone deserves one. Jackie sincerely wishes Sandra good luck. Mike is overjoyed that everything has gone back to the way it was. Lily dies in the care home. Charlie collects her belongings, feeling utterly alone. Soon Sandra receives a letter from him saying that Lily sadly is gone. Now that his wife has reached the end of her journey, he believes it is time to begin his own. Charlie plans to take his barge to France. A birthday party for Sandra is held at the Abbott house. In his speech, Mike says that his wife is like wine, getting better with every year. Looking at the falseness of it all, Sandra realizes that she does not want to be part of this perfect picture, and she does not want to be with Mike. For all 35 years she spent with him, she betrayed herself every single day. But Sandra will not waste another minute on anything that does not make her happy. Charlie casts off. Sandra runs as fast as she can to catch him and calls out to him. But he does not hear her. To run faster, Sandra kicks off her shoes and grabs a bicycle. And so the lovers are reunited. Everything is only just beginning.